How's it going, y'all? Today I'm going to be drinking Smirnoff vodka for the first time, and I'm going to be giving it a full review as well. Smirnoff is, without a doubt, one of the most iconic brands of vodka around the entire world. And I would actually go so far as to say that Smirnoff is one of the most ubiquitous alcohol nameplates around the entire world. There's Smirnoff Vodka, the normal variety. There's Smirnoff Vodka, the flavored varieties. And then there's Smirnoff Ice as well, along with many, many, many more different products. Smirnoff is, without a doubt, one of the most ubiquitous brands of not only vodka, but alcohol around the entire world. But as somebody who has never tried a single Smirnoff product before, I don't know how this stuff right here is actually going to be. Will Smirnoff vodka be good? Will I enjoy it? And will I enjoy drinking it straight? And will I enjoy drinking it in a mixed drink? I don't know, but I am very curious to find out all of that information by the end of this video today. And overall, I am as well, just in general, looking forward to drinking a little bit of alcohol. What I have with me today is a bottle of the standard normal Smirnoff vodka, not flavored or anything like that. This is just the normal variety of Smirnoff. And I bought this bottle right here at my local liquor store for $9.95 USD. For that price, I got 750 milliliters of American-made vodka with an ABV of 40%, a proof of 80, and one that is labeled as being gluten-free as well. I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and, after I thank the sponsor of today's video, quickly cover the look of the bottle itself. Then after that, I should probably go ahead and get the cap all off, go ahead and smell Smirnoff vodka for the very first time, and then after that, I'm thinking I should probably go ahead and pour some in a glass I have with me today, take a sip of Smirnoff vodka for the first time and find out just how it is, what it's like, and what I think of it. And once I'm done drinking Smirnoff vodka straight, I'm then going to use it as a mixer as well and find out just how Smirnoff is as a mixer with some Sprite. And once I'm done drinking that, once I've had my fill of alcohol today, I'm then going to give you guys my final thoughts on Smirnoff vodka, and I'm going to give this bottle right here a rating as well. But first off, as said, I need to thank the sponsor of today's video, which just so happens to actually be me. That's right, I am the sponsor of this video today, as my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, is out and available now. The poems within my book, they're not good poems by any means, but they are good poems to read while smoking cigarettes. And if you guys are interested in my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, you can find links to it in the description and comments down below. Make sure to go check it out if y'all are interested, of course. It's available now for $14.99 on Amazon, and of course, I highly recommend it. I do highly recommend my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes, of course, of course. But now with the sponsored segment of this video all done, I do suppose, without further ado, I should probably go ahead and quickly cover the look of the Smirnoff vodka I have with me today, as previously mentioned. And we can see that the look of this bottle as a whole is not, in my opinion, a beautiful look. This is a utilitarian look, a more basic look than not, but a very iconic look, if I do say so myself. The red accents, the thin bottle, the white label on the front, all of these are familiar aspects to me as somebody who does frequent liquor stores in my local area, and they're familiar to me even though I've never drank Smirnoff vodka before. The look of this bottle is, without a doubt, iconic. It's not a beautiful look. It's not a look that, in my opinion, could be put in an art museum. But it is a utilitarian look that sells you on Smirnoff vodka. It tells you exactly what's going on, and it does try to really push the history of Smirnoff as a brand onto you much more so than not, and make you feel like you're getting a worthwhile purchase. Let's go ahead and cover some of the details of the bottle now. We can see that this is a thinner bottle than not. It's also just a normal clear glass, and we can see the neck up here has a metal cap and a metal band going all the way around it. We could see 2 labels on the front, actually 3 labels on the front, and we can see that it starts off a little bit thick up here, gets thinner towards the bottom where it bulges out, again, for stability purposes. And yeah, that's a good overall encompassing general sort of explanation of what the Smirnoff vodka 750 milliliter bottle actually looks like. Without further ado, let's go ahead and cover some of the details of the bottle now. Starting off at the very top, at the neck/cap of this bottle of vodka. We can see that, as said, there's a metal cap and metal band, and that metal cap and metal band, they have a, I would have to say, dark red, dark, almost burgundy color to it. And on the very top of the cap, we can see in a dull silver or gray, it just says Smirnoff right there in cursive text. And that goes over a shield design, and at the top of the shield there is a little bit of a crown right there as well. They're trying to make Smirnoff look like a luxury product, look like a product with a lot of history behind it and everything like that. And of course, Smirnoff as a brand does have some history behind it, but is it truly a luxury product like they're trying to imply with the crowns and everything like that? Personally, I don't think so. I think it's all just marketing. But nonetheless, we do get that shield and crown on the top with the cursive Smirnoff text right there. And then on the metal band itself, we get the crown once again in black right here with some stuff kind of going over it. Let's cover some of the details of the crown itself first, though. We get some birds and stuff like that in some holes and some coat of arms and whatnot kind of thing. And then in text on the crown itself, it just says, "C. Pierre Smirnoff," just right there, C. Pierre Smirnoff, just like that. And we can see that the crown itself is replicated not once, but twice on this metal band, and also on the metal band going over the crown design itself, we have a gold band right here, a gold band on the bottom towards the bottom of the metal band, and in the middle there is a silver line of text. And that silver line of text just says, "The world's #1 vodka." Is Smirnoff really the world's #1 vodka? Honestly, I don't doubt that. Honestly, I really don't doubt that Smirnoff truly is the world's #1 vodka, but I don't know whether that's actually true or not. Whether it is true or not doesn't really matter, though, because that is a marketing thing. That's for marketing purposes, and, you know, I gotta admit, they've sold me on this being a popular option, and of course, if it's a popular option, it's going to be good, right? And that's not at all the case. Just because something is popular does not mean it's good. It just means the marketing is good, and it just means that the price is good. And I gotta admit, the marketing for Smirnoff is good. The price for this bottle of Smirnoff was amazing. $9.95 for 750 milliliters of vodka. That is very affordable if I do say so myself. And if I had to hazard a guess, the reason why Smirnoff is quite possibly the world's #1 vodka is probably not because of the quality of it. It's probably instead due to the price and marketing of Smirnoff as a brand. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Part of the why I'm making this video today is to find out whether the quality and the, just general enjoyment of drinking Smirnoff is really what it should be kind of thing for the world's #1 vodka. Is Smirnoff as a brand all marketing, or is it actually a quality product? That's part of the reason why I'm making this video today, of course, so I am getting a bit ahead of myself. But without further ado, let's go ahead and move past the metal band up top and go down to the label on the front of the bottle right here. And we can see we get a red label, or a label with a red background, to say that correctly. However, there is a gold border going all the way around it, and we can see that there's a black border within that, and then there's actually black lines kind of going horizontally across the label. One other thing to mention about this label is that it's not just straight across. It does have a little bit of a bowing motion to it. And in the center of that red background, in white with a gold border and a black drop shadow, it just says Smirnoff right there with a little bit of a copyright symbol at the very end, or a little bit of a trademark symbol to say that correctly. And this text itself as well has a little bit of a different texture from the rest of the label, and it's also embossed as well, which is something that I do appreciate. I am an embossment enthusiast when it comes to packaging, and I love seeing that on bottles of alcohol as well, and they are providing with some embossment on this bottle today. But yeah, that's pretty much all that's going on right here, just letting us know that this is indeed a bottle of Smirnoff with the iconic curved sort of just label, I would say. Below that, we can see we go to a white label, a white sticker on the front of this bottle with a white background, silver details, gold details, black and red details as well. And this label has a little bit more going on than this one right here. As said, white background, silver details. We see lots of swirly lines kind of going all the way around and everything like that. We see a little bit of an S right here, and this is embossed, and there's lots of embossment all over this label. This is a little bit embossed, this is embossed, this is embossed, this is embossed, this is embossed. Same with this as well. There's lots of embossment going on the front of this bottle. No question in my mind. As said, though, lots of swirly lines kind of going all the way around. We see an S right here for Smirnoff and another one right there that is not an S, but that is instead like sort of an eagle design or something like that. We probably saw that on the crown up here. So the design is kind of wrapping into itself, which I do appreciate. And we can see there is a crown at the very top up here with a gold background and black details. And we can see some of those birds in there and those same emblems right below it. And then we can see there's sort of a ribbon sort of shield design right here made up of that gold and red. And within that shield, we have another little ribbon right there, which just says, purveyors of enduring quality to the people, recipe number 21, vodka. So I guess the right way of putting this is that this is the Smirnoff number 21 vodka, I do suppose. And yep, just says recipe number 21, vodka right there in black text with a gold drop shadow. Then below that, it just says STE Pierre Smirnoff FLS. And then under that shield in cursive, it just says Smirnoff right there once again. And that's really all that's going on with this label. Then below that, we get this silver label right here. There's a background of, or not a background, but a border of black and gold on the top and the bottom right here. And there's a bunch of details on it as well, along with some more embossment. In red, it just says, continuing tradition since 1864. So they're really trying to sell you on the history of Smirnoff as a brand. It's been around since 1864, supposedly. So they're really trying to sell you on the history of the brand. Just says 10 times filtered. So they're trying to let you know that this is a high quality product because it's filtered just that many times. And it says that the 10 times filtered is for remarkable smoothness. Then under that, it just says made in America. You can't have any confusion with whether this vodka is made inside the United States or not. Apparently, a couple years ago, Smirnoff had a big confusion happen with what's going on over in Ukraine and everything like that. There were a lot of American consumers who believed that Smirnoff was a Russian vodka. And so a lot of stores were pulling products from the shelves, and Smirnoff ended up being one of those products that got pulled from some shelves, when in fact Smirnoff is very much an American brand and is made in the United States. So it was a general piece of confusion that happened there, and so as such, they do very much want to let everybody know that this bottle is made in America, made in the United States. And then to the side of that just says 40% alcohol by volume. And over here in cursive, it just says, just right there, just says STE Pierre Smirnoff. And that's pretty much all that's going on with this label itself. And that's pretty much all that's going on with the front of this bottle. In my opinion, I don't really think the front of this bottle looks particularly amazing by any means. It's iconic, don't get me wrong. It's easy to spot on the shelf. But is this a beautiful looking bottle? By no means is it, if you ask me at least. But it is an iconic, utilitarian look that obviously gets the job done because otherwise Smirnoff would not be using it. I do suppose without further ado, now I should probably go ahead and cover the back of the bottle as well. And we can see the back of the bottle is much more simple than the front with just one tall label right here. Just a basic white background on it. And at the very top, in red, it just says Smirnoff, and then we get a market segmentation spiel in black, and it just says, since 1864, Smirnoff has traveled from Russia to Poland, Paris to America, using our multiple column filtration method to make award-winning, smooth-tasting vodka for everyone. So they're really trying to sell everybody on the brand history since 1864, and they're really trying to sell themselves as being a world-renowned product as well. From Russia to Poland, Paris to America, they're really trying to sell you on the brand with that market segmentation spiel. And you know, I gotta admit, I think it is a pretty good one. Below that, we just get the government warning in a sort of grayed out, sort of light gray text on that white background. And it basically just says, don't drink and drive, and don't drink alcohol if you're a woman. that is pregnant. And then after that, we get something that I very much appreciate having on alcohol bottles. We get the serving facts. I love being able to see the calories you get from a shot of vodka and stuff like that on the back of the bottle. There's not nearly enough alcohols in the United States that have serving facts on the back of the bottle. But thankfully, this is one of those bottles, and that's something I love seeing. Just says serving facts, serving size, 1.5 fluid ounces, 44 milliliters. Servings per container is 17. Amount per serving is 40% fluid ounces of alcohol. Fluid ounce of alcohol, 0.6. Calories, 96. Carbohydrates, 0. Fat, 0. Protein, 0. What do you mean? I thought alcohol had protein in it. It's only a matter of time until somebody comes out with a protein alcohol. Let me tell y'all what. I've been seeing like tons of like protein bars and stuff like that kind of thing. I even saw like protein Rice Krispie treats the other day, and I was like, that's kind of crazy. Protein Rice Krispie treats? I think it's only a matter of time until protein alcohol releases. I don't know if the FDA would even allow that to happen, but would be pretty amusing. Or I say FDA, I don't know if the ATF would allow that to happen, because that's the regulating body for alcohol in the United States, not the FDA, because technically alcohol is not considered a food product that's regulated by the FDA in the United States. Kind of weird to me, but I mean, like, hey, whatever, that's a topic for another video. But under these serving facts, just says distilled from premium grain. I heard online that Smirnoff is made with corn. Don't know how true that is, but it says premium grain nonetheless, and corn is a grain. Then after that, it just says produced by the Smirnoff Company, New York, New York, 750 milliliters, kosher, CACRV, has some other information, has some stuff on how you can get money back for the bottle, says please recycle, and then it just says gluten-free, and to the side of that, we just get the barcode right there, and we get a little bit of a divot on the bottom of the back of the bottle as well. And yeah, that's really all that's going on with the look of this bottle as a whole. Overall, in my opinion, a very iconic look for a very iconic brand, but not a look that is beautiful. It's a very utilitarian look, but not one you would find in an art museum more than likely. But in a museum of industrial design, I think this would work. I do suppose without further ado, now I should probably go ahead and actually get the lid all off of this bottle, and I should probably go ahead and actually get to smelling the Smirnoff vodka I have with me today. But before I open up the bottle of alcohol, I first off want to grab myself a little bit of a thumbnail before the sun goes down any more than it already has, as we are approaching sunset right now. So let's go ahead and see if I can grab myself just a little bit of a thumbnail real quick before the sun sets any more than it already has, as said. Let's see, where's my sunglasses at? Let's put my sunnies on. I don't need them, but let's wear my sunnies for the thumbnail, of course. Got to be big pimpin', you know what I'm saying? Big pimpin' always. This is a very tall bottle though, so it's kind of hard to grab a thumbnail with though, I'm not gonna lie. Alrighty though, hopefully one of those will work as a thumbnail. I took a minute or so, maybe more than a minute to grab a thumbnail, so I hope one of those will work as a thumbnail. Let me just put it that way. I do suppose without further ado, let's go ahead and get this bottle all opened up, and let's go ahead and find out just what the smell of Smirnoff vodka is actually like for the first time. Will it smell like straight paint thinner? I'm kind of thinking it may. I'm kind of thinking it may. Only one way to find out. I just cracked it open a little bit. I'm getting a little bit of alcohol for sure. All right, let's see what this smells like. Put the cap down and let's give it a sniff. Okay, not entirely paint thinner by any means. I would have to say the smell from the Smirnoff vodka overall is super mild. As one would expect from a vodka, the smell of it is very, very, very mild. Very low-key by all means. But the smell that I am getting is that of I would have to say, mildly sweet, creamy, sort of grain-like scent. I don't know whether it's corn or whether it's another grain, but I would have to say a mildly sweet, creamy, grain-like scent is absolutely in there. With a little bit of an undertone of a sort of grape medicine smell that has kind of dissipated since I first took a smell. It's not so much in there anymore, but it's still in there a little bit, so it's worth mentioning. And then after that, it's just kind of an alcohol scent, sort of a little bit of like a nail polish scent, I would say. So yeah, overall, the smell of Smirnoff vodka, in my personal opinion, is that of a sweet, sort of creamy, grain-like scent with an undertone of a slight medicine grape, and then a little bit of a sort of nail polish-like scent, I would say. And that's the smell I'm getting right out of the bottle, but what will it smell like when I pour it in a glass? Well, let's go ahead and get my glass out, and let's go ahead and find out. I have this glass with me today, which is my Copo Americano. I gotta admit, it is a fantastic glass to drink alcohol out of, no matter what the alcohol is. And so as such, I have been drinking a lot of straight alcohol out of it in the last couple weeks or so, and I've been really enjoying utilizing this glass. Glad I brought it back to the United States with me from Brazil. Let's go and pour a little bit of Smirnoff in this. I think I'll go with that amount to start off with. You know, if I want more, I can always have more, of course. And let's go and put the cap back on the Smirnoff vodka, and just a little bit of that. Had to do it. And I would have to say the smell of the Smirnoff vodka, it has changed somewhat within the glass itself. I would have to say in the glass itself, it's a lot less sort of sweet, creamy, grainy, and much more nail polish, alcohol. Yeah. Definitely the most mild scent you're going to get from the Smirnoff is when it's still in the bottle itself. But once you pour it into a glass with a little bit more of a wide mouth, the smell becomes that of a, now, I would say alcohol, slightly nail polish, slightly sweet, still creamy, medicine grape sort of flavor. You almost entirely lose that sort of grain undertone, but it is still there to an extent. And that's very much what Smirnoff vodka smells like in a glass. Well, I do suppose without further ado, I should probably go ahead and take a quick sip of water, and then after that, I'm thinking I should probably go ahead and, get to drinking some Smirnoff vodka for the very first time. As such, let's go and take that sip of water. And I also need to check on my bug repellent. This is my first time using a, Thermacell. This is my first time using a Thermacell. I've been having problems with bugs in my local area this year. And so I was talking about on video how I was looking for some bug repellent, and one of y'all was kind enough to recommend the Thermacell. I had heard about Thermacell before, but I had never really looked into it. And after one of y'all recommended a Thermacell, I looked into it, and I ended up purchasing one because it was on sale for 50% off on Amazon. And I was like, I don't know if this is really going to work or not, because bugs are pretty intense in my local area this year, especially like where I am right now. I've had a couple mosquitoes like fly by me, none of which have tried biting me in any way, shape, or form. So yes, the Thermacell I have, it's working for at least the first time I'm using it. And so as such, I want to go ahead and give a huge shout out to the very kind viewer who recommended the Thermacell insect repellent to me. I'm not sponsored by them or anything like that. I'm just so glad that I don't have bugs coming at me during this video. And so I want to give a legitimate huge shout out to the viewer who recommended that I try a Thermacell out. Thank you so much, my man. If I remember to do so, I'm going to put your comment on screen right here. Huge shout out, my man. Thank you so much for the recommendation. Genuinely, you are saving me right now, because if I didn't have this, the mosquitoes would be all over me. The gnats would be all over me, and this video would not even be getting made. I think my Thermacell is still like all good to go. I heard that like once the pad is like not blue anymore, it stops working, but it's still a little bit blue, so I think I'm all good. Hopefully. If mosquitoes start coming at me, I'll go grab another pad, I do suppose. But I'm going to go and put this back down on the ground. And I'm going to stop being distracted by me being happy I'm not getting eaten alive by mosquitoes right now. And I'm going to go ahead and get to drinking some alcohol, I do suppose. How did I get on that side tangent? I'm not exactly sure. I was just like, man, I'm so glad there's no mosquitoes coming at me right now. And that was my entire line of thinking. Well, without further ado, though, let's go ahead and drink Smirnoff vodka for the very first time, and let's go ahead and find out just how it is, what it's like, and what I think of it. Yes, sir, you know what I'm saying, Okay, right off the bat. Burning. I took a tiny sip. Definitely getting a bunch of burning in the back of my throat. I can say immediately. I'm also getting a little bit of a medicine grape in there, a little bit of nail polish, but I am also getting that sort of sweet, creamy, grain-like sort of taste that I smelled when I first opened up the bottle of Smirnoff as well. Okay. All right. You know, I gotta admit, it could be a lot worse. Like, right off the bat, is Smirnoff the best vodka I've ever had? Certainly not. By no means is Smirnoff the best vodka I've ever had. It's certainly also not the worst, though. Yeah. Okay. All right. You know, I gotta admit, all right. You know, the flavor itself is definitely not as good as some of the other vodkas I've tried. But, I mean, like, honestly, for $9.95, it's like one of those things where it's like, how can I complain? Like, I'm kind of like, all of the vodkas that I really like are minimum double the price of Smirnoff. And there are vodkas that are double the price of Smirnoff and are worse. I'm gonna be honest, this stuff ain't half bad. Like, it's certainly not the best vodka I've ever had. And I think it's definitely best used as a mixer. Like, would I want to drink a Smirnoff vodka straight again in the future? Probably not, no. There are other vodkas where I would actually drink them straight again. Smirnoff, I don't think it's one of them. But for $9.95, I mean, like, how can I complain? And realistically, who is actually drinking Smirnoff vodka straight? Nobody. Nobody's drinking it straight. Everybody is just mixing it into stuff. Kool-Aid or Sprite or Coca-Cola or whatever. People are mixing vodka into their mixed drinks. They're mixing Smirnoff into their mixed drinks. They ain't drinking it straight unless they're taking shots. And if it's taking shots, I'm sure a lot of people would actually prefer the roughness. Makes the shot feel more significant. I am not one of those people, though. I like my smooth alcohol. But, yeah, no. Honestly, I gotta admit, for the price I paid? Nah, this ain't bad. The overall mouthfeel, I would have to say, is that of a almost sort of silky smooth, like creamy, watery mouthfeel. I'm trying to think of a comparison. It's not like a soda-like mouthfeel. That's kind of syrupy. It's not like a tea-like mouthfeel. That's too sweet. if I was going to say anything, I would say that the mouthfeel of the Smirnoff is kind of like, it's kind of milky. It's kind of got a milky mouthfeel to it, I think is really the right way of putting it, which is very interesting to me. Is this still working? Yeah, it seems to be. The pad itself inside is not blue anymore, so I'm like, is this still working? I don't know. I don't know if it is still working. I hope so. I don't want to get eaten alive by bugs. But yeah, I would say the mouthfeel of Smirnoff vodka is, yeah, very much that of a milky mouthfeel. And the flavor I'm getting is that of a sort of sweet grain. I would have to say like sweet, creamy grain flavor with, I would say, undertones of a little bit of a sort of medicine grape and a little bit of nail polish. I legitimately don't know if this is still working anymore. As I said, this is literally my first time ever using a Thermalite. So I legitimately don't know if this is working anymore because it is like mostly white. And I am having like more bugs come at me now. It could just be because the sun's going down, or it could be that this is not working as well as it once was. So these are supposed to last like 3 hours. Do I want to just go get another one? Because I have not been running this for 3 hours. I've been running this for like an hour and a half. So do I want to go get another one and try a new pad? Or do I want to just keep using this one and risk getting eaten alive? I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk it. Because each Thermacell pad is expensive as hell. Like $3 a pop, bro. I'm kind of like, it's worth it to not get eaten alive by mosquitoes. But oh my God, $3 a pop and it only lasts $3? That's $1 an hour. For $1 an hour, I could buy myself, over the course of 3 hours, 9 hours, I could buy myself a bottle of Smirnoff vodka. I don't think I would much rather trade an entire body full of mosquito bites for a bottle of Smirnoff vodka, though. I wouldn't do that. I would much rather not get eaten alive by mosquitoes. And honestly, for that purpose, I'm willing to pay the price. But $3 per sheet is not cheap. Thermacell, they have a racket going, that's for sure. And as I've continued drinking the Smirnoff vodka, I can definitely say it's gotten a lot smoother. At the very beginning, I was definitely getting a bunch of harshness. I was definitely getting a big sort of hit in the back of my throat from the sort of almost nail polish-like rough flavor of the Smirnoff vodka kind of thing. But as I've continued drinking, I've gotten used to straight liquor. I've gotten used to the vodka. And it's smoothed out significantly. So I would definitely have to say, like, when you first start drinking Smirnoff vodka, it is, for the first couple sips, rougher than some higher quality, better vodkas, in my opinion. Let's think Grey Goose, let's think Haku vodka, let's think Absolute or something like that kind of thing. Those are all higher quality vodkas than Smirnoff, in my personal opinion. So at the very beginning, when you first start drinking, it's a bit not only rougher than those, but just a bit rough in general. But as you continue drinking, it smooths out. And overall, I personally think Smirnoff vodka is better than Tito's vodka. There's no question in my mind. I hate Tito's. I don't like Tito's. I think it tastes gross. I don't know. I haven't had Tito's in like over 4 years because I just don't like it. But maybe I should buy a bottle again eventually and do a review of it to see if my hate towards Tito's is actually legitimate or not. Because I just haven't had it in so long, and I've tried so many more alcohol varieties since I last had it that I don't know if what I thought at that point is actually still true or not, kind of thing. Maybe I don't hate Tito's as much as I used to. I doubt that, but I'll have to try Tito's again in the future. But yeah, Smirnoff, overall, definitely not the greatest vodka to drink straight by any means. It's not quite as high quality as some of the other vodkas out there. There's definitely other vodkas that are a lot smoother, a lot better to drink straight, and have, in my opinion, a better and more interesting flavor profile to them. However, for $9.95 for 750 milliliters, I cannot complain. Like, genuinely, this is a solid quality product for what it is, especially for the price I paid. Would it be worth it at $20? No, Smirnoff would not be worth it at $20. No way. It wouldn't even be worth it at $15, frankly put. But for just under $10, I haven't tried any other vodkas that really compare. Granted, I also haven't tried any other vodkas at that price point either, so take what I say with a grain of salt. But yeah, overall, I'm going to have to say, roughness and smoothness-wise, Smirnoff is definitely at the beginning on the rougher side, but it smooths out. I would still overall give it a, I'm going to have to say compared to other alcohol, probably a 6 to 7 out of 10, roughness and smoothness-wise kind of thing. Mouthfeel-wise, it's got sort of a creamy, milky mouthfeel, in my opinion, a very smooth, creamy, milky mouthfeel. And overall, the flavor, if you ask me, is that of a, yeah, I would have to say sweet, creamy, slightly grain-esque. Yeah, sweet, creamy, grain flavor with an undertone of a little bit of medicine grape. And then under that, there's just a little bit of sort of alcohol, very minor, very, very, very minor sort of nail polish sort of flavor kind of going on. And that's very much what Smirnoff vodka tastes like, if you ask me, when you drink it straight at least. Overall, I gotta admit, as something to drink straight, Smirnoff vodka could have been a hell of a lot worse. It genuinely could have been so much worse. I was really thinking that Smirnoff vodka was going to be a decent mixer, but was going to be pretty horrible to drink straight. This was so much better to drink straight than I thought it was going to be. Like, do I think this stuff would be good to shot? I'm sure better than some other vodkas out there, like no question about that kind of thing, but I wouldn't want to shot it personally. I think the initial roughness of it is a bit too much for shotting. If I'm going to shot something, which is almost never, I've done like 5 shots in my entire life. I don't like shotting stuff. But if I was going to shot something, I want it to be really smooth. And Smirnoff vodka is not that smooth. But if you want a rough shot that makes you feel like you're going to vomit, Smirnoff vodka might be for you. But overall, yeah, I mean, like for $9.95, don't get me wrong, it's not the smoothest vodka I've ever had. It doesn't have the most interesting flavor profile, but it's got a nice mouthfeel. It's not super rough, especially as you continue drinking it straight. And the flavor that is there is not a bad flavor. It's not interesting, but the flavor that's there is really not that bad, especially when compared to some other alcohol I've had before. You know, I was kind of thinking Smirnoff. I was kind of thinking, especially just the normal base vodka variety, I was thinking it's all name. And that was all going to be brand image and brand marketing and name. And people just bought Smirnoff because it's recognizable. It's what they know. And I do think that is part of the case. Don't get me wrong. But it's also very affordable. And what you get for that affordable price is actually a solid product that pretty much lines up with what it should be for that price. Smirnoff vodka to drink straight. You know, I'm going to give it a very solid 6 out of 10. I'm going to give it a very solid 6 out of 10, which I think is very deserving, especially for the price. I mean, like, for the price, I think it's more like an 8 out of 10, honestly. But I do my ratings in comparison to everything else I've ever tried, not in comparison to the price, so it's getting a 6 out of 10 as something to drink straight. Honestly, legitimately, if I really want to be critical, it's more of a 5 out of 10. So, do I want to give it a 5 out of 10? You know, I'll give it a 5.5. I'll give it a 5.5. We need to find out now, though. Now that we've talked about how Smirnoff vodka is to drink straight, we need to find out how it is as a mixer as well. So, let's get my Sprite out of the cooler I have next to me. Is it still cold? It still is. Oh, my God. Let's get it. It's still cold. So, yes, I have some Sprite with me today. I'm going ahead and I'm going to go ahead. I'm getting a little bit of a buzz. I have a little bit of a buzz going. I am going to go ahead and get a Smirnoff vodka and Sprite going. And we are going to find out how Smirnoff vodka is as a mixed drink as well. So, let's go ahead, get the cap all off, and let's go and pour myself a little bit of vodka. How much do I want? How much do I want? I'm thinking a little bit more than that. A little bit more than that. I got a nice low butt buzz going, but I just spilled some vodka all over myself. It's okay. I think we'll go with that amount. We'll go with that amount. I think that should be a good amount. That's probably like, what, half a shot or something like that? I'm not exactly sure. It's a mildly good amount, so we will go with that. We will go with that. Excuse me. I'm slightly buzzed. The heat, I'm not going to lie, is not helping. There is no breeze, which is good for the bug repellent I'm using because it works best with no breeze. But it's no breeze and like 90 degrees. That rhymed pretty good, though. No breeze and it's 90 degrees. There we go. And there is my first ever Smirnoff vodka and Sprite, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's give it a little bit of a smell. Smell-wise, Smirnoff has a very mild smell right out of the bottle. And while I definitely can tell that there is something in the Sprite, it doesn't smell like alcohol. Or it doesn't smell like nail polish, I guess is really the right way of putting it. I can tell there's alcohol in my Sprite. It's not like the Smirnoff vodka smell completely goes away. However, I definitely do think the Sprite's probably done a pretty good job of covering up the flavor of the Smirnoff vodka, as it's done a pretty good job of covering up the smell of the Smirnoff vodka. Overall, gotta admit, this smells pretty good. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to drinking my first ever Smirnoff vodka and Sprite. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? You know, I gotta admit, not the best vodka Sprite I've ever had, but solid. Solid. And honestly, while the Smirnoff vodka, that sort of alcohol tinge that Smirnoff vodka has to it, that in my opinion a lot of higher quality vodkas don't have, definitely does shine through the Sprite just a little bit for sure kind of thing. That alcohol tinge, it comes through just a little bit. It could be a hell of a lot worse. Like the Sprite does a pretty good job at covering up the flavor of the Smirnoff, and the Smirnoff does a pretty good job at just completely dissipating into the Sprite. Not entirely. In my opinion, the Smirnoff does not do as good of a job of dissipating into the Sprite as something like, let's say, Absolute Vodka or Haku Vodka, for example. But it's not a bad vodka Sprite by any means. The vodka Sprite I've got with me today is very drinkable. I'm enjoying it. It's not the best vodka Sprite I've ever had, but I ain't complaining. I really ain't complaining. And overall, as a mixer, I think Smirnoff vodka deserves a very solid 7 out of 10 kind of thing. I think a very solid 7 out of 10 is pretty deserving for a rating as a mixer for Smirnoff vodka. I'm trying to think if I want to pump that up to an 8 out of 10 though, because the more I drink, the more I'm thinking, is the flavor I'm getting actually just the aftertaste from when I was drinking it straight, or is it actually the taste of the Smirnoff in the Sprite itself? And it's hard to say. It's hard to say. So I'm going to give that some thought. I have like another little bit under half a can of Sprite left, so I can have that in a little bit if I want to. Man, though, the sun, it's pretty much almost entirely set. I got the moon in the sky, got the sun setting back there. The bugs are chirping. The bugs have been very loud today, let me tell y'all what. But it's very warm out here. I'm so glad that my insect repellent is doing its job. Oh my god. I hate wearing DEET, and it also does like nothing with the bugs in my local area for some reason, but genuinely, massive shout out once again to the viewer who recommended the bug repellent I'm using today, because it seems to be doing the trick. It seems to be doing the trick. I don't want to like jinx myself and then like next time I come out here it doesn't work. But like, knock on wood, but it seems to be doing the trick. Like this year, during the summer, I'm like, it's been pretty warm, but it hasn't been like, I would say like warmer than it normally is in my local area. But like the sheer amount of bugs in my local area has been a lot more than usual. There's just so many more bugs, and they're just completely inescapable in a lot of areas. And I think the reason for that, and I was thinking about the reason, like why are the bugs so prevalent this year when they're like, they weren't as nearly as bad last year kind of thing. And I think the reason they've been so prevalent this year is because I think we had a really cold May. Because it was like May, and I was still wearing like pants and a long sleeve like throughout like most of the month kind of thing. And so the bugs, they're all coming out at once, like during just a couple months, rather than being spread out between like late April, May, June, July, August, September. They're all coming out, like even like the very beginning of June was not that warm kind of thing. So like late June, July, August, September, they're all kind of concentrated into just like a very small time span. And I wonder if that's why the bugs are so bad this year. And I was really enjoying the cold May, I'll acknowledge. I was really enjoying it. I was like, man, it's so nice. I can wear pants and I'm not having bugs come at me, and it's May. This is amazing. Little did I know the effect that would have on the rest of the summer. You know, that's just how stuff works. That's the butterfly effect, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm going to say Smirnoff as a mixer and a spread at least is a solid 7 out of 10. Because I kind of gave myself a little bit, I had a little bit of a palate refresher with this. And I think I can definitely say that Smirnoff, it's not quite as smooth, it's not quite as tasty with Sprite as some other higher quality vodkas in my personal opinion. But it is not, I'm like, for the price, I mean, like, how can I complain? I'm like, for the price, it's like, as a mixer, it's like a solid 8 out of 10 kind of thing. But for like, comparison against all of the other vodkas I've tried so far, it's like a 6 or a 7 out of 10 as a mixer. So like to drink straight, I'm going to give Smirnoff vodka like a 5 out of 10, which I want to clarify is not a bad rating. I don't try a lot of bad alcohol. I do try a lot of good alcohol. That's kind of one of my goals. I don't like drinking bad alcohol, of course. So I do generally try a lot of good alcohol. And so my rating skews towards the upper end because what I am trying most of the time is good alcohol that is reputable, that people have recommended to me and everything like that kind of thing. Smirnoff, for the price, is very solid in my personal opinion. Very solid for the price. Not the greatest thing on earth, and when compared to the higher quality vodkas I've had, it's certainly not the best thing ever. But I want to go ahead and clarify. The 5 out of 10 I'm giving it is in comparison to those other high quality vodkas kind of thing. If it was based on price, this would be like a solid probably like 7 for drinking straight and a solid 8 for as a mixer. But as something to drink straight, when compared to other vodkas, I think a 5 out of 10 is honestly deserving for the Smirnoff vodka, just the normal variety. And I think as a mixer, I think probably like a 6.5 is deserving for it. So like a 5.5 total rating, I'm gonna have to say maybe. I'm still gonna continue thinking about it. I'm gonna have another drink in a minute. I want to give it a definitive rating that I'm happy with and that I feel like is deserved, and I want to put thought into it. I don't just want to slap a rating on Smirnoff to have a rating for the video. I want to give it some thought. Glad I poured a little bit less vodka into this one. I've got a nice buzz going, let me tell y'all what. Oh, I am starting to have the bugs come at me. Maybe this is all done. I'm not exactly sure. It's still smoking, though. It's still smelling like there's something. I know this stuff is supposed to be scentless, but in my opinion, it's not. There is absolutely scent, but it's so mild that if you keep it away from you, you can't smell it. But when you're right up on it, you can definitely smell it. But what I did, like, before the video is I went like this to try to get, like, a bunch of, like, the Thermosol stuff on me. And I'm just going to kind of keep it a little bit closer to me now, towards my arms and whatnot, because I just had a mosquito come at my arm. I will have to test this in different circumstances. I don't want to say whether this is truly a good product or not right now, just simply because this is my first time ever using a Thermosol product. Once I've used it for like a solid couple weeks to a month, like on a routine basis in multiple different environments, here, at parks, with a breeze, without a breeze, stuff like that kind of thing, low-key, I might have to make a review of it and decide once and for all whether Thermosol is a product that works for when you want to drink and have other stuff outside and everything like that kind of thing. If you're sitting down, if you're not moving, by all means. This is not meant for when you're moving, of course. But yeah. Shout out to the viewer who was very kind enough to recommend the product to me. I have like citronella candles. They don't work. I have like literally like anti-bug incense. Doesn't work kind of thing. This seems to be doing the trick though. Thank God. I've been looking for good bug repellent. Oh my goodness. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, and I am so glad to have not gotten eaten alive during this video today. As said, I'm not sponsored or anything like that. It's just when I use a product that works and it does the trick for what I need it to do, I see no reason to not mention it, like on video and stuff like that kind of thing. But, of course, worth clarifying, this is my first ever time using it. It seems to be working right now, but I don't know how it's going to work into the future. And also, Thermosol, like pads or like paper bits that are like the insect repellent things that it burns, those are expensive. They are very expensive, so I would be more willing to say good things if they were less expensive, or if they gave me a brand deal. Yo, hit me up, hit my line. I'm trying to get that money, you know what I'm saying? You know, this channel is called Jacob Jones Money. Y'all know why this channel is called Jacob Jones Money? It's because I'm trying to get that money, baby. That's what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. No joke, that's literally the very simple reason. It's because this channel contains only monetized videos. There are no monetized videos. There are no monetized videos that are not getting posted on this channel. There are no non-monetized, I'm buzzed. This video contains only monetized videos because I'm trying to get that money, baby, because I want that money for more alcohol. Now that's what I'm saying, baby. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Excuse me. Overall, second drink was solid. I do still think there was a little bit of a flavor of the Smirnoff vodka kind of in the background kind of thing. Not bad by any means. In my opinion, Smirnoff vodka for the price is a very solid mixer and very solid to drink straight, I gotta admit. But when compared to the higher quality vodkas I've had, it doesn't combine quite as well with the flavor of Sprite. And it also, in my opinion, what's the right way of putting this? It also, in my opinion, Smirnoff vodka, basically what I'm trying to say, is not the highest quality thing in the world. But for the price, how can I complain? It is one of the cheapest vodkas I've tried. And it is better than some of the more expensive vodkas I've tried. Like Tito's. Tito's is way overpriced for what it is in my personal opinion. It's massively overpriced for what it is. And based off my memory of what Tito's is like, Smirnoff vodka is way better. I've got to try Tito's again. It's been like 4 years since the last time I had it. And in those 4 years, I've tried a lot of other alcohol products. But, not too bad. Smirnoff vodka, overall. What are my final thoughts on it? Now that I've finished off all of my alcohol and now that I have experienced Smirnoff vodka while drinking it straight and as a mixer. Overall, would I buy Smirnoff vodka again? If they raise the price, no, but if the price stays the same as it is right now, yes, absolutely. Like if Smirnoff vodka stays at $10, just about a pop for 750 milliliters, how can I complain? Frankly put, how can I complain? This stuff is very solid for the price, in my personal opinion. It's just when compared to some of the other higher quality vodkas I've tried, it's not quite as good. Overall, I would buy Smirnoff vodka again. I'm going to enjoy drinking the rest of this bottle over the next little while or so kind of thing. And I am definitely going to be making a lot more vodka Sprites with this stuff right here. I don't think I can see myself drinking any more Smirnoff vodka straight by any means, but vodka Sprites, I could see myself making more with the Smirnoff I have with me today, that is for sure. And maybe some other mixed drinks as well that I'll have to look into that call for, in specific, Smirnoff vodka. Maybe there's some mixed drinks that call for Smirnoff in specific, so maybe I'll have to try some of those. Not exactly sure. But yeah, Smirnoff vodka, overall, as a mildly budget choice kind of thing, not the most budget, rock bottom vodka by any means, but as a, I would say, budget choice compared to a lot of what I've tried previously, Smirnoff vodka, not a bad product. I'd buy it again, and I've enjoyed my experience with it today. Overall, I think the Smirnoff vodka deserves, in comparison to all of the other alcohol I've tried so far, a very solid 6 out of 10. I think Smirnoff vodka deserves a very solid 6 out of 10. As something to drink straight, it's a 5 out of 10. As something to mix, it's a 6 out of 10, and I'm going to give it an overall 6 out of 10, as I think most people are going to be drinking Smirnoff as a mixer rather than straight. As something to shot, if you want it really rough, then Smirnoff's going to be for you. Not for me, though. Not for me. I like my smooth alcohol. And definitely as you're sipping, it smooths out. But as something to shot, it's going to be very rough. It's going to be very rough. Overall, though, a 6 out of 10 for the Smirnoff vodka. In my opinion, a very solid vodka for the price. And overall, a vodka that I'm very, very, very glad to have finally tried. It's been a long time coming to try vodka from Smirnoff for the very first time, and I'm very glad to have done that today and to have given it a full review as well. And I hope you guys have enjoyed watching today's video. If you guys have enjoyed watching today's video, of course, make sure to like and subscribe, and also make sure to check out my new poetry book, Poems to Read While Smoking Cigarettes. You can find the links to my new poetry book in the comments and description down below. It's available now for $14.99 on Amazon, as said at the beginning of this video. Appreciate y'all watching today's video. Hope you guys have enjoyed watching, and until the next one, stay safe and peace, and have a great one.